As the official healthcare provider of Minnesota United, Allina Health is focused on keeping our loons in top condition. And with expertise in orthopedics, sports medicine, heart care, and more, Allina has the team to keep your family in the game too. The experts at Allina Health take the time to get to know you as a whole person, helping you achieve wellness for your mind, body, and spirit. It's an altogether better kind of healthcare. Learn more at allinahealth.org. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Sound of the Loons, presented by Allina Health. The season is officially upon us. I feel like we've been talking about it. I got an email the other day that said it's been 74 days since the MLS Cup final to the opening day, which is technically on Wednesday, February 21st, where Miami takes on Real Salt Lake. 74 days, the shortest offseason in MLS history. But yet it seems like it's been so long, and we finally get to actually talk about the season. And I get to be joined by DJ Taylor, the DJ Taylor, Mr. Right Back, although play left back, pretty much do whatever's asked of you at any time. How are you today, and are you ready for Saturday?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Hope you're having a good day as well. And yeah, we're definitely ready for Saturday, and the guys are itching to get out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's 48 degrees. The sun is shining. The snow is melting. It's not too bad of a return when you came back from Coachella, because I'll tell you what, those pictures looked pretty incredible. That's not a bad backdrop, and that grass looked pretty nice as well.
Yeah, Coachella's been awesome. Being able to go there the last 2 years has been amazing. And the weather and the scenery is kind of like a movie, to be honest.
Yeah, there's a reason why all like the tech giants started flooding to that area of the country like during the winter months, because it's just so beautiful. You could see why everyone would want to be there, but also just a fantastic atmosphere for training, good competition. I mean, it doesn't really feel like there's any negatives to sort of wrap up your preseason, aside from the fact that you're just itching and ready to play real games that count.
Yeah, definitely. It's like that. It's a cool experience for fans too, that get to come and see teams in preseason play against each other. So they get a close look at us. So that's really cool to experience that too for them.
So talk to me, let's just rewind here. Talk to me about the end of 2023. I haven't had the chance to talk to you. Not the season that the team wanted, not the season that the club wanted, I'm sure, to wrap up the way you guys did. But what were your overall thoughts on 2023? And then we'll only look forward and ahead to the positive.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it ended as a whirlwind kind of for me. Last year's first red card, first time I got 8 yellow cards. So I guess you can see how all that aggression was coming out. But no, yeah, obviously it ended disappointing. Guys were very disappointed like that. It's always tough because, like you said, the off season actually felt super long because you go out so early. That's kind of the price you pay. So yeah, I think it just didn't end the way we wanted it to. I think there's a lot of ups and downs throughout the season. For example, starting out, like, we won the first 5 games. We had some injuries there. We had like good stints of winning the run in Leagues Cup. So it's like we were just falling just short of where we could actually truly be. And that's kind of how it finished. But right now, the guys are in a great mindset. We're ready for Saturday. The club's still growing. We know that. So honestly, we're kind of just depending on each other to get through this time and should know that we have to perform for ourselves, for the fans, and for our families.
Well, I feel like when you just talked about 2023, that season is sort of what sums it up. Maybe the inconsistency, right? You guys started off with a bang, had this incredible stretch, even without Emmanuel Reynoso, not back in the fold yet. You guys were proving everybody wrong, maybe all the doubters, because everybody's like, you guys are missing your number 10. You guys went out and did your thing. And then the ups and downs, Leagues Cup, it's a lot of games. It's a lot of competition. US Open Cup thrown in there as well. And then you jump right back into MLS play right out of Leagues Cup and the All-Star break. So when you looking ahead to 2024, having to rely a little bit on each other and yourselves as a team, as a cohesive group, what has the off season been like for you? Did you take some time to like mentally regroup, unwind? Did you go on any vacations, spend time with the family, go back home? How do you reset mentally, physically, emotionally in the off season before you head into 2024?
Yeah, I definitely took some time off to just decompress everything, especially with the way it ended with, Adrian leaving the club, which was bittersweet because he had brought me up. We had a good relationship, and I got my first chance with him in MLS. So yeah, it was a whole whirlwind. But yeah, I definitely just relaxed. I usually just relax with family, with my wife. We did a delayed honeymoon, so we went on our honeymoon. We went to the DR for 2 weeks. So that was really
Nice.
nice. It was almost like too much time. We could have just done like a week, to be honest, because then we're both itching to start continuing to do things. But that time was really nice just to unwind, relax on the beach, and uh, kind of just reflect on things, how it went, and then look forward to 2024. And then, I think I only rested like 2 weeks off. So since it was a longer off season, I was trying to focus on just keeping the engine running and doing a lot of maintenance stuff. And luckily, it's all led up to now. We're in preseason. Last preseason, I was hurt with like tendonitis, and this preseason, I've had no injury so far. So I think the hard work has paid off. So we're all super excited for 2024.
Talk to me about heading back into training camp, back into preseason. When you look at this core group of guys, what was that like when I mean, I'm sure you were doing some workouts. Maybe you were in a little bit early. I don't know what, where you're living full time now and whatnot. But when you guys all get back in that locker room together and you step foot on the field, even though you know the fitness test and the beep test and whatever else is ahead of you, what's that like when this group gets back together again? Because you guys have a solid roster and a solid group of guys that are returning for this season.
Yeah, it's nothing but good vibes. Obviously we still have the core squad of starters who are really good. And we have the tools necessary to win a cup in MLS, I believe. But then also was a whole bunch of new faces. So it was really cool to see how that kind of integrated together. And luckily everyone's been really cool, good people. And there's been no conflict between teammates whatsoever, really. But yeah, so it was just good. I mean, it's always good the first week just to get back to each other, passing the ball with each other, doing the little things. After a couple of days off, that wears off because you're here to work. So, yeah, it's been cool just seeing the whole group integrate themselves with the new players.
With some of those new players and a lot of young players that have been with you guys for preseason, there's been an emphasis on that, whether it's with Cameron Knowles taking the reins and you had a lot of twos there and maybe some academy players joining you guys in the draft picks and whatnot. How do you find yourself useful and helpful to those guys coming into that atmosphere to a group that's been together? Because you had to do much the same when you came into Minnesota United. How do you kind of impart your wisdom on those guys?
Yeah, it's a lot of just side conversations and talking throughout training, especially when they struggle or if they're feeling pressure. A lot of the guys, like I said, all the guys on our team are really good, especially the more experienced ones. So we just have our little side conversations. We tell them moments where they need to hear, hey, you need to do this. This is what is being asked of you. And whether they take it or not, it's up to them. But we're all here willing to help them through it. And that's kind of what preseason has been cool to see them grow as themselves. Because they might get called up in at any moment to play with us. So everybody was just preparing each other no matter what level they were at during this preseason. It was really cool to see that.
We're going to play quick reaction here. I'm going to say something and you give me your immediate response. First thing that comes to your brain, as long as it's appropriate for the podcast.
Okay,
Cameron Knowles.
awesome.
Awesome. What makes him awesome? How has he been in this? I know you knew him from before. It's not like he's a
Yeah,
brand new guy, but in this role, what do you like about him? What has been so awesome about Cameron Knowles?
I think the biggest thing, which he's echoed with us since day one, was just being 100% transparent. And we may not have gotten that before, but with Cameron, you definitely get that, whether it's talking about playing was, okay, I'm requiring this of you, or, okay, this is the situation at the club. This might happen, in the next few weeks or whatever it is. Cam has been 100% transparent. And that's all we can ask for, especially as players, because as the club's rebuilding, we know this. We know we might have to do things on our own as a team when we play out between the white lines. We might have to sort it out ourselves. But Cameron's been really awesome in that aspect as a coach, but also as like a friend, I guess, in a sense.
when you look at the situation that he's kind of been put in and that he's taken on, right? As Sean McCauley left, Cameron was on the bench as an assistant coach last year when Sean McCauley took over. But when you look at the situation that he's taken on and just the day by day nature of it and sort of just taking what comes as it comes, do you think that it's a little bit easier for you guys to relate to that scenario because you're all kind of in the same boat, right? You're sort of just going with the flow right now, relying on each other, doing what you can. Do you think it makes it a little bit more relatable because he's in much the same scenario that you guys are?
Yeah, I think 100%. Like I said, we're in the same boat. He may not know what's going on in the next 2 weeks, but he's gonna just tell us everything he knows, So we kind of already have that trust already established. And he knows that he's getting the most out of us every day, regardless of what's going on around the club. He knows we're getting and gonna give 100%, and we're getting that in return from him. So it's been cool like that.
So you guys hop on the plane, you head to Tucson. That's your first preseason trip. You're
Hmm.
getting down there, you're getting to work on some things. Were there any thoughts or feelings about like, hey, what's the plan tactically? What's the thought process? You guys just going out there and playing soccer because so much of the game anyways, right, is it's fluid, it's reading the game as it goes. There's clearly ideas, philosophy, styles. And in the last few years, it's been a 4-2-3-1, very it's been very consistent in that manner.
Hmm.
Well, how did you guys feel going to Tucson with Cameron at the helm and just trying to kind of sort through some of that? Did you guys have any meetings, any team meetings, any conversations about, hey, what's kind of the plan going forward here, just from a soccer perspective?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty much asking the same questions. What's our style going to be like? Is it going to be different? What's changing? And luckily with the introduction to Khaled, that made it a lot easier. We had individual meetings with him, and then with Cam, yeah, we started to have conversations. Okay, this is what we're going to do. So, like I said, it was actually the opposite of like just going out and play. It was more like it's a more controlled environment that may be a little bit less intense, but we're focusing more on the philosophies, the movements, and stuff like that. And most of the stuff we've gotten echoed is playing this kind of high pressure, aggressive style, almost defending 1v1 at times in the back, which is, I think, perfectly sets up to how our players are built within the team. We definitely have like a possession kind of free flow team that we have enough quality to break teams down and break lines. So I'm curious to see how it works. But like preseason since Tucson, every time we've tried the style has done pretty well. Especially I think in the last game against Charlotte, it really showed how we could implicate that into a real game with real competition. So I'm excited about it to keep learning it and keep growing it. And we'll see how it goes.
You mentioned Khaled there, the new chief soccer officer joining you guys. He came down to Tucson and did meetings with all of you. Not that you have to share your individual one-on-one conversation, but what was your first impression of him? What's your overall sort of thought and feeling when you guys finally got to meet him face to face and get going on that?
Yeah, I mean, he made it very clear from the first time we met him and when you talk to him in person about what he's here to do, which is to win. So we all definitely respect that because I feel like that's what the club's missing. And we all want to win. So everybody agrees with what he's saying, and you know, everybody's still being open to changing the environment what we're in because we know it needs to be better. So that's kind of his main message was that he's here to win and whatever necessary cost that is, that's what it's going to be, and we have to be able to adapt. But also he's been cool in trying to get to know us. Like, we've had those one-on-one meetings outside of the team meetings, and then he's gonna have us fill out like a questionnaire where he can get to know like our families and other things like that. So it's really cool to see both sides of him, and obviously we're still getting to know him. But from first impressions, it's kind of just like he's here for business. So you can always appreciate someone like that.
You don't have to wait for spring to start playing the beautiful game. Starting in February, Minnesota United has a full slate of academy and youth camps scheduled throughout 2024. Show off your skills, take your game to the next level, and enjoy some quality time on the field with MNUFC's licensed academy staff. Visit the camps and combines page on MNUFC.com for more information. Yeah, it's interesting. When I did a podcast with him a couple weeks ago when when he came back from Tucson, I think it was. And I mean, it was clear as day that exactly as you said, he wants to win, but he's willing to do the work to get there. But also he understands that to get there, he's a very much a people person, like
Mm,
understanding the importance of every single person within the organization, top to bottom, front to back, and getting to know that at the end of the day, you guys are all people. You're all human beings. You're not just robots. You know, everybody's functioning. He's done like every job. He's been a kit man. He's done everything within a club,
right.
so he can understand, appreciate, respect those different scenarios. When you look at this team and you just talked about sort of this high pressing nature, if you had to compare it to something or like a hybrid of, you know, how every club plays in this league, I asked him myself, I'm like, okay, are we talking Red Bull's high press? He's a big Liverpool, he's a big Jurgen, Klopp fan. Like,
Yeah.
what kind of style are we talking here when you look ahead?
Yeah, what he's told us is basically like Tottenham Liverpool style. Not really Red Bull.
Yeah,
It's kind of just
not
like
that. Yeah,
high
yeah.
press, long ball.
Mhm.
We're kind of just high press when in higher up the field so we can create more chances higher up the field and defending aggressively so we don't have to defend backwards. That's kind of the best way to kind of describes it. But yeah, I would say kind of like a Tottenham Liverpool stylist.
hmm When you look at you personally, where do you think you've grown the most in your career, and especially with your time at Minnesota United? What do you think, looking back at year one, year two, and as you've gone into this role of a starting right back, as a fullback, as a wing back, whatever we're calling it these days, where do you think you've grown the most? And what do you think you most need to improve on when you look back and look ahead?
Yeah, I think I've grown probably most just in my standards of competition. Um, I think I had a pretty good baseline coming from USL, but obviously MLS is a different level. You're facing different attackers. So I think the biggest thing was for me to be able to adapt so quickly once I finally did get a chance, being able to adapt to the level of MLS and learn what it takes to defend at the next level. And then now I think the next challenge for me is okay, well, what is it like to reach the next level? Once you reach certain goals, how do you reach the next ones? And I'm trying to find different ways where I do that, whether that's, leading more people on the field or being like 100% with my tackles and stuff like that. But I think now I need to work on, or what I believe I need to work on is kind of the attacking phase of things. So once I get in those dangerous spots, just executing, whether that's the cross or picking out the right person or shooting. Sometimes I'm crossing it when I should be shooting if I'm inside the box. So being more selfish in that sense, being more lethal in the final third is something I want to focus on this year and just get better at crossing and things like that, so I can set up my teammates.
So you just talked about the attacking phase, but what do you pride yourself more on? Like, do you find more joy in just shutting somebody down 1v1, or do you find more joy in beating somebody on the dribble to get to the end line and serve the perfect ball in?
I don't know. I feel like it's hard. Like defending for me is kind of like a love-hate relationship. I feel like
Explain that.
you get all the credit when you can, especially like in MLS, there's a lot of 1v1 situations, especially like with the left winger, and teams look to expose that all the time. So when you're just out there on an island 1v1 against someone, I think it's almost like fun sometimes, except if you
Mhm.
get beat. But having a couple of goes and just going at it, I think is really fun, but it's also not fun because it's a lot of hard work. Going against attackers who are really skilled is very tough. Um, but yeah, I think it's like a love-hate relationship. But I think it's definitely more exciting when I get into the attacking phase and can start doing things like I get much joy out of assisting teammates, with the final cross or whatever it is, or even if it's a third assist, helping to build up through that play. I think that's where I find the most joy.
Is that the like worst, dreaded, awful feeling when you get all the way to the end line and then the ball gets cleared out and you're like, oh my God, I have to run 120.
Yeah.
Like there goes the ball in the attack. Even though Will Trap or somebody's gonna be dropping for you, somebody's gonna cover, somebody's gonna slide, you're still looking there going, oh Lord, I've got to get on my horse and haul all the way back there.
Yeah, that's always tough, but I feel like that's a part of the job you sign up for, right? So, and you never know what can happen. You can always make a change in the play. You don't know if it's going to take 10 seconds, 5 seconds. You have to just believe that you'll have an influence because it can happen where the attack gets delayed and you do end up making a play from that like 100-yard sprint. But yeah, that's definitely the worst, especially if you know like, oh, I could have played that ball better or cross, because you do all the hard work to get in that position. And it's not worth it if you don't play a good cross. So yeah, that's definitely probably the worst feeling. Or if you overlap and then it like gets passed out of bounds too far or something like that. So
Well, it used to always be the case. Like if your defender's going to make that dang run, you better give him the ball.
yeah,
Like when you make
exactly.
that run and then you don't get the ball, it's even like worse. It's like you got to kind of pay it forward if you're a
Yeah.
midfielder or you're somewhere else on the pitch. Like you
Or
take the time to make that run.
yeah, or at least like get a shot off that's on target and makes the keeper work, not just miss or whatever it is. But yeah, I feel like I said, it's part of the job as an outside back, and the way the game is changing every year. So
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is too, is like you kind of have to commit. You can't
Mhm.
like half like, hey, maybe I'll go, maybe, once you make that decision, you have to be like fully committed to it. You can't be like half, your brain is half in the attack, half in the defense. You kind of got to
Right.
make a decision to stay or go.
Yeah, and that's what I think is good about this new style we're playing. It's very versatile where we're pressing and we're winning it in the higher spots. So I don't have to make 40-yard runs. Now I'm making a 20-yard, 15-yard run. I have more energy. I have more time to think and relax in those moments and pick someone out. Rather than crossing into two 6-foot center backs, I'm looking for the cutback more now, because I'm getting to the end line or whatever it is. So I think I'm really excited about this season and working on that attacking phase. I think this style will really help me get those assists that I'm missing.
So what does this team look like when you win that ball in the attacking half of the field and that ball turns over and that transition happens so quickly? What does this team look like? I'm not sure who's going to be, out there on Saturday in the starting 11 or whatnot, but what does it look like when you win the ball? What does that attacking phase look like without giving away all the tactical genius that you guys are working on?
Yeah, I mean, when we win it in one area, the main thing is we're going to switch it to the other. So you can probably see, like, let's say I go up to the winger, win the ball in the attacking half. I'll play probably, let's say, midfielder, and they'll switch it to the other side. Now, the other side should be open because in that transition, we won't give the team enough time to close that weak side space. And you see, once we win it, we one pass straight forward, and then we're hoping to have 2 or 3 runs in behind, whatever it is. So that within a couple passes, we're in the box and either cutting it back or someone's getting a shot off. So I think that's what you'll expect to see us this weekend. And you kind of saw it a little bit in Charlotte where we had 4 or 5 chances in their box that were close.
Depending on who is playing in front of you, how important is that connection, that relationship, and how different is it? Let's say if it's Bongi playing in front of you versus Robin or whoever they end up putting on that side in front of you, or regardless of where you're playing, how different is that? How does it change the way you play, and how important is that connection, that chemistry?
Yeah, it's super important. Because different guys, especially like for example, Bungie and Rob, they are both different footed. So, you know, Bungie may like it more in his right foot. Rob's gonna like it more in his left foot. And Rob's good with his feet, so I can always just play him immediately to his feet. Whether Bungie's like, he's pretty fast, so I can play him in behind. So those little things are huge. And I usually as the outside back have to find what is whoever I'm playing with like the most, what's his strengths, what's his weaknesses, and I try and help them out through that. But yeah, so those things are huge, but those things we're able to develop in training and trying out different formations is really cool. And I just continue to keep learning about them as we go through situations and continue to build that camaraderie.
What are you most excited about 2024? Looking into Saturday, we'll get into Austin a little bit. I know there's going to be a different podcast, sort of deep diving into the game preview, but what are you most excited about looking ahead at this season?
I think just showing everyone that, all the work we've put in this preseason and in the off season, even though we kind of ended 2023 not where we wanted, everyone came back, I think, the most fit everyone's been. All the tests, everybody's hitting high standards on the test. So I'm really excited for us to just show them who we are and see how they like the new style that we're training, and hopefully the club is going to adopt as we move forward. So I think it'll be really cool, and it'll show kind of like I don't know. I feel like the team will finally show its true potential with this new style, which would be really cool. So,
How do you balance going into opening day, especially in the situation where you guys are sort of trying to adapt and learn a new style with also scouting and focusing on what Austin's going to do? I'm guessing they may look very similar to last year, same head coach, somewhat similar, of a roster, maybe make a few tweaks here and there. But how do you balance that? And what do you see from this Austin team?
Yeah, I think we still, like any other way game, you focus on yourself a lot, as a team and defensively, being extra precautious with things. And we kind of look at Austin and we know how they're going to play. And, sometimes super direct with Finley out wide. He likes to run in behind. But we also know they do like to try and play a lot. So we're going to take advantage of that as being a highly aggressive pressing team, where hopefully we can win the ball in higher spots and punish them. So you kind of look at them a little bit, but we also focus on, okay, hey, this is how we're going to defend, this is how we're going to attack, and hopefully the results will come.
I know you just talked about trying, wanting to prove and show the fans what you guys have been working on, but how much are you looking forward to? Not trying to look past Austin, but that home opener on March 2nd, how much are you looking forward to that, to hosting the defending champions and just being back in front of your fans at Allianz Field? I know there's an open training session even before that people will hopefully get to come to, but how much are you looking forward to that? And just, this fan base that has, like, through thick and thin, ups and downs, no matter what, has supported you guys.
Yeah, I'm super excited, and I'm sure most of the guys on the team are as well. It's always great playing at home in front of all the fans. They're awesome. And I think it'll be more of a relief for them once they see us get 3 points and we can hear Wonderwall, because they kind of been in the dark more than we have to a degree, with everything that's been going on at the club and its rebuilding process. So being able to just show them, hey, this is where the club's going, this is our future, and that will be a successful future is going to be awesome for sure.
Well, you guys didn't get to sing Wonderwall that much last year.
No, we didn't.
So your vocal cords, your pipes should be all ready, right? For March 2nd to sing that one at home. Everyone's going to be ready. Nobody's going to be leaving their seat waiting for that one.
Right, exactly.
And especially when you get to shut down the defending champs. I mean, it's like a great way to kick off the home season.
Yeah.
So, well, DJ, I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're super busy. You probably got 2 more sessions today. You got a lot going on. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on Saturday at Austin. But good luck this weekend. Looking forward to seeing you, and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
All right, everybody, that's another episode of Sound of the Loons, Minnesota United's opener on the road at Austin on Saturday, home opener March 2nd. And then in between there, I believe there is a open training session on February 27th, I believe. So see you guys all out there at Allianz Field. Thanks for joining me. Have a great week.